Hey everybody, so something I want to talk about because it came up recently with a video of mine talking about sort of the biker's sixth sense, as they call it, the ability to see problems coming, sometimes to a point that you're like, how did I even know that? Why did I choose to not trust that person? I think I've made a video on this in the past, kind of talking about it a bit, and I've also made a video called How to Avoid Near Misses, which is on the same sort of lines, but I feel like now I've been riding for 13 years. Yeah, 13. I had no idea it was that long until a while ago. I thought it was like, 10, 11. And in that 13 years, I've ridden a lot of different bikes, had a lot of different experiences, really different places, into different conditions. I think it's made me a much better rider. That being a safer rider rather than a faster rider. But I don't think I'm a better rider and more skilled, because obviously the more you do something, the more skilled you become. Anyway, point is, what is the motorcycle sixth sense? How do we do it? Because I'm a man of science, and I do not believe that we are predicting the future. I do not believe we are telepathically connecting to said person in the car and knowing that they're not looking for us. We have to be picking up on other cues. And I've watched back the videos of the times that I have had these moments, and I think I know what the answer is now. It's a combination of things. If you're on your home track, as it were, the place that you ride the most between home and work, or your local area, somewhere that you know like the back of your hand, like I do with this road because it's the only road on and off the island, you get to know where people make common mistakes and where people don't do the things they're supposed to do, not indicating, taking the wrong lane, stuff like that. Very often I think this comes down to the road layout causing problems, and I think that's very often where these accident black spots happen. It's not because people speeding, yada yada, it simply comes down to the road layout very often. Not in all examples, I'm just saying. So obviously in that scenario you're just going to know where things are going to happen, but you only get to learn these things if you're actually properly paying attention to what you're doing and being observant. You have to pay a lot more attention than just this bit. I mean, my concentration bubble could be, between the car behind me and the car in front of me, and I just do whatever happens in between. Yeah, okay, it might work most of the time, but it's going to have problems in the future. So the best thing to do is look beyond your bubble, see the entire scenario that you are driving through, pay attention to side turnings and where there are driveways and places that you can't see around vans and stuff like that. Anticipate the unexpected, and that saved me many times where I'm just like, no, I'm not going to overtake this car because I feel like someone's going to pull out, and sure enough someone does. Another thing to do is to not just look at the car as a car, look at the driver. As much as you can, try and make eye contact at junctions with car drivers. If they're not looking at you, they haven't seen you, so don't act like they have. Make eye contact, make sure they see you. Now, I thought I made eye contact with someone before they pulled out on me, and I had a pretty nasty crash that took, if you've been following my channel a long time, you'll know it was operations and years to get sorted and still not completely right. But the point is, I thought he'd seen me. How could he have not done? I was on a straight road, it was getting towards dusk, my headlights on, I'm very obvious, but no, he waited till I was about 20 yards in front of him and then pulled out. Kablamo. So I'm not saying that you can avoid every accident, because you can't, but lots of them you can. You can at least mitigate the risks or reduce the speed that you would meet should this happen. But because cars are driven by people, cars get body language. And this is the sort of thing that I think I've picked up on the most, and it's what I've recently, as I say, I've been trying to think about this, like, what is it exactly we're picking up on? I think it is body language of cars. Sure, there are stereotypes that certain types of cars are going to do certain types of things, and yes, it's not always true, but there are a few brands out there with a few stereotypes connected to them, or ones that I've kind of learnt along the way that are actually true. I am pretty sure that most Jaguar drivers don't actually know what an indicator is or what its function is for. I also have found that Jaguar drivers believe that parking spaces are wherever the hell I feel like parking. And so, this is not all Jaguar drivers. You could say the same for Audi, you could say the same for BMW. But what I'm talking about is you can just tell by the way that someone's driving. The way they brake to a line, are they cautiously braking up to the line? Are they waiting until they get to the last second and slamming on the brakes? When they pull away, are they pulling away super aggressively? or are they doing it more smoothly? Can you see them indicating occasionally? You know, stuff like that. Did they look over their shoulder for the pulled away? I think this is stuff that we look at but don't really consciously realise we're looking at. But it's what the cues are that our brain picks up on to be like, yes, I need to be careful of this one. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on this blue car behind me. I don't know why, but I just have a bit of an iffy feeling about them. And it is true to say you'll have false positives where you think someone's going to do something dodgy and they're the best driver in the world. It's better that than to think someone's going to not do something and then you get embedded inside them, if you know what I mean. So it's a tricky thing. I don't think you can teach experience through a video, because obviously you can't. And the more I've learned through life is that just for some things, it doesn't matter how many hours you are taught, how many times you are told, it will not sink in until you learn it in your own way, in your own speed and fashion. So as I said at the beginning, it's about being observant. It's about being more observant than everyone else is being. It's about looking at the people and thinking about what are they going to do and what could they do. Like with filtering, I would say if you're filtering down the middle of traffic and you know it's cars side by side, nose to tail, there is no gaps, you can be reasonably confident that no one is going to change lane at that point, because it would be a physical impossibility unless they were able to put their car over the top of another car. So that's one of the things I do. If I'm filtering, I look for the gap where a car could go. If there's a car opposite to it, that's where my eyes are. Not focused on that one thing, but I'm paying attention to that one car, because it's more likely that they are going to make the mistake. When you're watching cars at junctions, look at their wheels, as well as looking at the driver, because if you look at the wheels, you know which direction they're intending to turn. Generally far better than the indicators, which they don't use. As I say, there is a million different little things that we pick up on. And it's almost impossible to put your finger on exactly what they all are, but I think that our brain statistically goes, right, most of the time that someone does that, this happens, or most of the time I go to this junction and the person's positioned like this happens. And it's, oh dear, oh no, a dead fox, squished fox, squawks. Moving on from this sad event, there is definitely no replacement for experience. Some things have to be learned over time. However, if you start picking up on some of these key things, like looking at drivers, you know, as you're at junctions, look at the wheels, pay attention to what's going on further ahead, expect people to do things, look behind vans to see if there's something coming, look at the way that someone's driving. They're driving aggressively, erratically. Maybe don't go in front of that person. Keep away from that person. Even allow a gap to form from said person. You know, don't sit up the arse of the van in front of you so you can't see around it. Hang back a bit so you can see around it, up the road, see what's going to happen. And if someone has a crash up ahead of that van, rather than your only warning being the back of that van is lights turning on, bright red, and it's stopping and you slamming into it, you see everything happen and go, oh, I guess I'll slow down now, shall I? You know? Here's another example. On this corner, why do I go so goddamn wide? Let's see how the Maserati corners. Right onto the wrong side of the road. Need I say any more? There's another good one. I like letting people out and letting people in. Be careful that you don't then, you know, call someone to go up your arse. You need to be looking behind you before you say, yeah, you can go. But if I see a clear road behind me and a van wanting to pull across, I tend to let them if it's slow speed. Again, the scenario, the situation changes everything. But I find that caution will be better for you in the long run. Now, this is not to say that you can't go and have fun on a bike or go quickly or anything like that. It's about doing it more safely. It's about choosing the time and the place and doing it in line with your skill level and your experience. You know, like if I go out the country roads for a ride, as much as there are roads that you could go very fast on, the problem is they're full of blind side turnings, and also you get horses and tractors and stuff on them. Now, there's nothing you can do when you come round a corner and find a tractor in front of you. I know one of my subscribers who had this exact issue. Thankfully, he is back on a bike now. But from my understanding, he got pretty messed up as he went into this said tractor. I don't know if it was actually his fault or what the scenario with that one was, but I'm just saying, they're there. And whether they're in the right or the wrong, being mangled into the side of it isn't pleasant. So you have to kind of look after yourself. I mean, to give you an idea of what my brain is doing right now, I'm glancing at my mirror every now and then to keep an eye on that Land Rover that's not too close, they're keeping a nice speed. I'm also now paying attention to everything that's going on in front of me. You've got a grass area over there, are there kids on it, are there dogs running around? We've got side turnings on the other side. You've got that white car there who didn't indicate, so there was no way of me knowing which way he was going, and that's the problem with indicators. If you don't indicate when you're turning left, the person doesn't know that you're not turning right. There is a Ferrari here, which is also following the speed limit. You know, right now, I'm looking at the back of this car and I can tell you that MKV is the last three letters of the plate, but there's also two people walking up the side of the road further up there, and an orange van just went over the roundabout, followed by a yellow VW new-shaped Beetle. On the roundabout up there, that's where you want to be looking, everywhere. And after a time of you doing this, you don't even think about it, it just happens, and then every now and then your brain starts spitting out pieces of information to you. And it is up to you whether you listen to that. If your brain says, a little element of doubt, like, that person looks like they're about to pull out on you, you have a choice. You either keep going past at the same speed, or you just let off the throttle a little bit, be prepared to brake, and make sure they see you. Once you're close enough that you know it's going to be a real risk if they pull out, you're probably going to know if they're looking at you or not, and there's a good way of knowing whether they're going to actually pull straight out on you and try and kill you. So that's my theory on where the motorcyclist's sixth sense comes from. I'm sure this can be applied to all of the different sixth senses that people have as maybe pilots or captains or fishermen or hunters or whatever. It's experience, and it's paying attention while you're doing these things that will lead you to learning from that experience. If you don't pay attention, you never learn. I'd love to know if some of those things are things that you do. I'd love to know if there's other things that you check for. Yeah. Honda Jazz on a corner that I nearly got killed on. That's why I'm very cautious with that one. The Honda Jazz driver actually sits higher up the list of watch out than BMW drivers for me, because they tend to be old and they tend to not be able to use their necks for some reason. It's something along those lines. As I say, if you found this video interesting or useful, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here. I'm on my way to 100k. If you want to help support the channel, please consider joining my Patreon for many benefits. Crikey. But yeah, otherwise, enjoy yourselves out there this summer, but stay safe. Catch you in the next one.